Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Pirates of the Cosmos. This is it's kind of a different kind of story, kind of different kind of approach to a tabletop homebrew than what most people think. It's not going to be your typical adventure. See, what I'm doing here on YouTube is I'm going to explain everything and how this works and how it's integrated, and I'm basically going to give everybody like what has happened over at my Twitch and sum it all up and put it in episode by episode over here on YouTube. It's a lot, but it's not a lot. So over here, it might be summed up in about a 20-minute time period, but over on Twitch, it could be 2 to 3 hours of just making constant decisions. So what this whole thing, it's called Pirates of the Cosmos, and it's if you guys have seen the movie Treasure Planet at some point in time, or Pirates of the Caribbean, all them crazy pirate movies and stuff, it's kind of like that, just down to the base square one, and there's no limits when it comes to planets and everything. This could be an endless adventure if we take it that far. Now, the thing isn't quite how crazy the adventure goes. It's mainly if we can make it there, because it's not my decision for that. The cool thing about this adventure is the entire community that I have. I write a whole story. I have I have paragraphs upon paragraphs, like an essay. You would never think when you go back to high school, write an essay in good format, and then you understand that it actually helps you when you write something like this. It's helped me quite a bit, but that aside. I basically take this entire story that I've written, and I make a mass multitude of different decisions and choices that they can make, and I'll take them in totally different paths. Some of it is going to have to be improv, some of it isn't. I can't do everything improv, because then that would be kind of I need to at least give some kind of direction to each episode. But aside from that, this is pretty much as close as you can get to a bare minimum beginner D&D, and one of the coolest ways to integrate a full community to play one character through Twitch, through the voting poll system and the dice rolls. To give you guys a full understanding, this entire thing is rolled on a D20. So anything from 1 to 10 is a fail, but anything from 11 to 20 is a pass. So it's basic D&D rules, or I guess basic rules. I personally don't know every last bit of D&D. I'm not the greatest, but I'm apparently really good at storytelling. So we're mixing a bit of the two. For the voting polls and everything, I usually have either myself or a couple mods. They will come in, and I will basically have a full line of story that happens, and then we come to a point to where you have to cross 2 different roadways. You can go to the left, you can go to the right, you can go down the middle, anything along the lines of that. I mean, that's a bare choice. But basically, I'll give them the options in Word. The mods will throw up the poll that either I've given them ahead of time or I've thought of on the spot, and they'll just write it in there. And it ends up being really, really cool by the end of it all, because everybody will vote up on what decision they want to make, and sometimes it comes with a reward. Sometimes it comes with an endless backstory of punishments and maybe lucky dice rolls to get out of bad, sticky situations. It's not a one-way story. It can literally go anywhere at any time. I don't even know how to explain it. You just got to be there to understand. But with all that being said, I should probably give you a full backstory, and then I also should give you guys an understanding of why you're going to hear some names that you see in my channel come up as well. So whenever somebody comes into my channel and they subscribe themselves, what happens there is their name will be put into the next episode, or some kind of episode ahead of time, depending on how many. So that I can try to keep as many people, or kind of give back to the people who are trying to support it and everything. For anybody who donates, we'll say 5 subs, gifting 5 subs in the community or more. We get to spin on this little wheel that I've created of items that, it could be a multitude of things. You know how you can get random lucky items, but they always have kind of a quirk. Well, we have quite a few of those, and there's been a couple that we've already been given. We've already been given a helicopter hat of speed, and we've already been given something else. But that's for a different time, because this is recorded a little bit. This is recorded after episode 2, so I'm giving you guys episode 1 for this go. Something cool but besides the subs is for the dice rolls. Now, say we're in a sticky situation, we've made some bad choices, and we roll a 7. And if we roll a 7, we're going to take the hit that's going to end us, right? Because we're going to fail, we're going to take a hit or something along the lines of that. But somebody donates, say, like $20, so every 5 will increase the dice roll by 1. So they donate 20, and I have a $7 on the dice roll. It's now at 11. We passed, and we may have hit something or dodged something that we didn't need to take damage for. So it has its own little weird like ways for support and other other instances and stuff. But on all honesty, none of this is even needed. Simply because it's just there to maybe change the story up or make it a little bit more interesting. That's kind of it. It's to kind of give back to the people who support it, and that's the only reason. The entire story can go on forever if we make the right decisions, right? So for backstory, so I said this is Pirates of the Cosmos. I said it's endless possibility. So what our main goal is by the end of this is to get this thing called the Crown of Chaos. Now the Crown of Chaos is basically an item, if you guys have seen, the Avengers, where it has like gems and stuff. It's kind of like that, where we have to put gems inside of it of different power sources, different colors, different auras that come from those. And once they're all inside the crown basically controls everything around it. So it's kind of the crown that can control the cosmos, the Crown of Chaos. In the wrong hands, it could be put, into terrible use, but in the right hands, it could be used for a very good, a very good series of events or good leadership until a person's dead or, anything along the lines of that. Now, when we get there, we're going to have to find out. To give you guys another little extra, our character, his name is Kyrix. Now, Kyrix is a dragonkin, and in this story, he's going to be growing up to become a level 1 druid. Everything is very base, everything is very minimum. There's no... the basic hit point system is going to be about 10, so it's going to be hit or miss rather than like actual like damage, simply because that would be extremely hard to track during these entire streams. Oh, also, by the way, all these streams are in VRChat, so you guys will get worlds, you'll get avatars that kind of look similar over time. We're going to have other people come in as NPCs and voice act and do work for them. You're going to get a big mix of a lot of different things that I honestly can't wait to see where this goes. I can't, because the amount of like fun we've had. Listen, by the end of this, you're already going to know that there's a great meme by the end of this. You're going to just enjoy the story. I've definitely talked way too much. I think it's about time I get into the backstory, the prologue of how we know young Kyrix and everything, right? So we grab Kyrix's past, or not grab, but we'll go live Kyrix's past. So he starts out as a young, 5-year-old boy, and he has a father who is a knight. He has a really good reputation. He's been on quite a few adventures himself, has some battle scars, but he's an older man. He wants to settle down with his wife. His father has more of a red flare coming from his eyes whenever he gets angry and emotional. He's more of the fire style, which... black dragonkin, like a black body with like a flare to it, like a red flare, scales. And flames come from the eyes. He has kind of a tattered body from the scars that he's been through. But overall, he's still in pretty good shape. He carries a great sword on his back all the time. He doesn't really wear a shirt, but he's a pretty solid guy. And he's your father during the story, right? And then there's your mother. Your mother. Oh man, your mother is she basically is the opposite. She's more of an ice style, a dark body with a more whitish, bluish tint to it for the ice tangent. She's a wizard as well. She's not a typical not a typical dragonkin you would see. She's very proficient with her abilities and everything, and she married your father. And then you have a younger sister who I'm not entirely sure how much younger. I'm pretty sure she's about 4, but we don't know for sure as of right this moment because your entire past is kind of left as a scar after what happened. Now, you being 5, having your father as a knight, your mother is a wizard, and a younger sister who, is just playful, and you're playful too. You're both young children. You lived in a small town of a bunch of other dragonkin. It's just you live with basically your native race and everything. It's where you come from, where everything works. And then right after your 5th birthday, you're just casually hanging out and some kind of word from town happens and the entire town goes on a bit of a red alert, but it's on the other side of the island. So they send military over to the other side of the island to deal with the problem that's going on. And just around the time they send the military over there, one of the base pirate lords and his entire fleet of hundreds of, probably thousands of pirates, if anything, come in and take the town by storm because they heard that there was one of the, if not the crown itself, one of the crystals for the crown of chaos in the town somewhere. And with that being said, they're hungry. They have one of the stones and they want to get either one more of the stones for more power, or they want the crown themselves. And so they take it to their advantage to destroy the entire town. Your sister has gone completely missing, and your father and mother are fighting off anybody who comes to the front door, but even they understand that it's impossible to stop this many pirates from destroying the town and taking everybody out with them. Your father tells you to go grab a special box that he's kept in his room for a very long time that you were never allowed to touch. And he tells you to go to a sealed room where only your handprint will unlock the door and lock the door. So once you grab this box and you go into the sealed room, the door shuts and the room disappears. The room doesn't exist unless it has been opened or shut. That's the only time it fully comes into reality. And you're stuck there. You kind of just sit there and you lay and you end up falling asleep, dozing off for quite a few hours. Don't know how long, but once you wake up, it's completely silent outside. You hear nothing. There's not even a ripple in the wind. You just hear maybe subtle flames, and that's about it. You decide to go out. You place your hand on the doorway, and you go out, and your house is gone. Your parents are gone. The entire town is leveled and on fire. They took everything. They destroyed the entire village. There's nothing left. It's just you, a box, and all of your emotions left. And with that happening, it's devastating to young Kyrix, right? Now, I do want to say this. Every time I say you, every time I say you, this entire story is based around you playing the main character of Kyrix. So if you guys ever hear me say you, that's what I'm meaning by that. Now I'm going to say young Kyrix, right? He basically breaks down in tears because there's nothing he could do. At the age of 5, you're most likely going to break down for a situation like that, right? And as you are kind of staring off and, or not staring off, well, crying, I should say, but you can hear something in the distance. You kind of take the audacity to look in that direction, and you see a druid. A druid on a carpet just casually coming by. And when he stops by to see you, he asks what happened. And even you don't really know. You just know that the town was taken over by pirates. And the druid explains that he was there because he heard of some magical item there, but that was about it. He was just passing by. And as he's mid-talking and asking your name, he sees the box and he feels the aura coming from the box. He grabs your arm, grabs the box, and says, "You must go. he must take you somewhere safe. And he takes you under his wing as his young apprentice, well, soon to be apprentice, when you turn the age of 12. And he's basically going to become your caretaker from now on. So after this, we're going to skip not a little bit, quite a few years here. We're going to skip to about the age of 12. With that being said, you are almost a teenager, and everybody knows that the teenage years are kind of rash. You're going to be a little bit more, I guess rebellious in other senses. It's an interesting side of everything, right? So you being 12, it's your birthday. It's your birthday day, and the druid wakes you up, and your eyes are crusted over completely. You always have a messy room, and he tells you to come downstairs because it's your birthday, and he lets you sleep in. It's already past noon, like it's already like midday, and you've slept the entire day away because being 12, you can do that. You wake up, you go downstairs. You usually have a rugged green skirt / kilt that you wear. You have a completely black body with like mithril shimmer to your scales. Greenish, bluish. I say mithril, but like a greenish, bluish shimmer, because your base actual I guess ability is acid, or not even ability. I don't even know the word for it at the moment. But your base, instead of being fire, it actually ended up being acid, which is kind of interesting. Now, with you having that, this is basically describing you. You're still pretty short and a young kid. You always carry around just a base staff because the wizard, or not the wizard. I keep saying, if I say wizard, please tell me down below how many times I've said the word wizard when I meant druid. It's going to be a common occurrence. I already know this. You're going to go downstairs. And you always carry the staff with you because the druid always tells you to, he always tells you to keep it around because eventually you're going to get used to wielding an actual, staff in the future. Especially if you're a druid, you're going to need some other forms of protection because you're not going to be able to transform and everything right away. He tells you to come downstairs, and once you get down there, his name is Umbra. He's an older man, around 80s. He's a human as well. He's definitely lived quite a journey, and he knows quite a lot. He's your master. He's one of the head druids of basically the cosmos, with the amount of knowledge that he has. He carries a mahogany staff with an emerald core that has like this weird, like, I don't even know, like this weird swirl that goes around it. But it's an older staff. It's definitely been charred, burned, whatever you want to say. It's definitely gone through hell and back, right? And so the wizard throws a book at you. I said wizard again. Ah! All right. The druid throws a book at you, right? We're gonna speed through this. He throws a book at you, and he says, "It's time for you to decide what you want to be, because it's about that time that I start to train you as an apprentice. You've now turned of age, and it's your time to make the choice." And this is where the cool part is. I'm going to try to give you the idea that where we made some choices, but I can't give you the full idea because some of the choices are going to seem very, very straightforward. When it took, I don't even know, pull an arm and leg just to get through some of them. But it's funny. It's kind of funny to see which direction we go in these stories. So I gave them the choice of a fox, a raccoon, or a cat, because honestly, having a stealth transformation first wouldn't be half bad. And it's nothing too big, nothing too crazy, nothing that can really do a lot of damage yet, because you're going to be an apprentice and you're going to be going into level 1. Like, you shouldn't be able to do anything super crazy yet, right? And they actually chose a fox. They chose a fox. Go figure. Now, you're told to take the book and study, but you also have to go into town, and he gives you roughly 20 gold to go buy a bunch of goods and stuff for the next couple weeks of food, and also to buy some supplies for a cake for your birthday and everything, because you love chocolate cake. It's your favorite thing for some reason. Now, when you're on your way to town with your bag, your staff, and everything, you meet your friend Alex. Alex is the kid that you've grown up with. He's one of the few that actually don't mind you, where the rest of town kind of looks at you as an outsider and don't really trust you. You grew up with Alex, he likes you, and he actually asked you to go down to a tree house, the secret tree house in the forest, after dark when nobody's looking. And he's just saying he's just asking if you guys want to go out there and hang out and maybe throw some fun at it, right? Now with that happening, everybody in chat said yes, so they're gonna go out later. They're gonna sneak out to this, right? Sounds like a great idea for the first episode. So after that, you head into town, and from there, it seems to be always the same shop owner that you go to get all of your food from. He knows you. He knows your reason. Not everybody is willing to sell you everything because, like I said, you're looked as an outsider, but this guy has always been good to you, and he understands the situation. He gives you a good bit of prices, and he tells you that a candy dealer or like a sweets dealer actually came into the port of the town and was selling candy. But Chat didn't decide to go the candy route. They actually decided to save the 2 gold. Because that's how much we had left over, right? So instead of buying the candy, we ended up taking the gold back, and we saw the ship take off. You know, since it's a space pirate adventure, it's not just basic ships in water. They can hit in water, and then they can float, and then they can also use their thrusters and take off straight into space. It's kind of cool to think about. With that, though, after watching it take off, which honestly you're in awe because you're a 12-year-old kid, you didn't buy the bar, and you're gonna head back to the house, make a chocolate cake and everything. And by the time you're done making this cake and eating some of it, it's already dark. Remember, you woke up midday, so it's already dark. You head out to the treehouse once the druid goes to sleep, because you have to do this sneakily. The druid doesn't want you out there, but Alex asked you to come out, especially at dark. And you guys go out and you pick some fun at each other up at the top and everything. It's been maybe like 30 minutes to an hour, and out of nowhere you hear like a rock just slam against the side of the treehouse. You're wondering like, what the heck is that? You look out and there's a goblin sitting at the bottom. It's a young like baby goblin. There's a goblin sitting at the bottom of the treehouse. Now Alex is honestly struck in fear. And with Alex being struck in fear, well, it's your duty to stop this goblin or take him out or do something, ward him off, so that you both can escape, right? It's interesting because at this point we have the staff and we have to roll. This is where we actually have to roll our first D20 to see if we actually hit this goblin or not. And go figure, we actually rolled a 17. We slammed this dude. We actually slammed this dude right in the forehead, leaving a dent, actually. And he ends up running away. It ended up being pretty funny to see us roll a 17 as our first roll. But after that goes away, Alex, you go back to your homes, and the druid hears of what happened. He scolds you for going out, but gives you a pat on the back for doing a good job and keeping you both safe. Fast forward 2 years, now we're at the age of 14. Remember, we're not really starting this adventure until we're 16, but we gotta build up a little bit of a story for us, right? And this is kind of like the prologue, the beginning, before the real like adventure goes crazy. Now these choices do matter. By the way, all these choices will matter, and they will have some kind of impact either now or in the future, depending on what you buy, what you do, what kind of presents you have. It's kind of crazy to think that being at the age of 12, 14, 15, you're going to end up making that big of an impact, but sometimes it really is like that. So now we are 14. We've been practicing our transformation, and we're exhausted. And I gave chat the option to either try to go for it one last time because you're feeling like you could possibly do it, or maybe take a break because you might overexhaust yourself and pass out. They chose to give it another go. And luckily the druid was behind them and stopped them and told them they were reckless and they should probably learn to know when to transform and when not to when they're at their peak exhaustion. After that whole situation, the wizard, well, I said wizard, oh God, Jesus God, please somebody take a counter of this for me. The druid, he after he's done all this for you and he's basically scolded you for doing that, you know, obviously you've grown a little bit, you've grown 2 years, your body's coming a little bit bigger. You can't make a full transformation, but you can do the tail, you can do ears, maybe a nose or something. It's interesting what you can do, but it's not quite ready yet. You still got some more practice, some more time. You now have a kind of a burnt out fire staff, kind of like a more rugged, it's kind of a 50-50 shot on whether it's actually going to work or not kind of fire staff. It's nothing great, but you have something that maybe protects you after the whole goblin incident 2 years ago. It's maybe something a little more to help you just in case it ever happens again. You decide that you need to go into town, and you actually want to go just sit off the pier and stare off into the cosmos a bit and kind of, look at shock and awe. And you see a huge ship that's about to take off, but it's in the background. And what they're talking about is basically they're putting up cargo. They're about to leave. They're saying there's some word of goblins in town. You're not quite sure why they're talking about that, but maybe they're talking about their other town. You kind of sit there and keep your feet dangling a little bit, and then eventually they take off, right? But it just feels kind of odd that they were talking about that, right? So you stand up, you take your staff, your bag, and you start to slowly walk back. And as you're walking back, you hear a scream from the center of town. Now, this is later at night, so not a lot of people are awake. A lot of people might not be even in the center of town. They might be around it here and there, but that's about it. Most people are inside and trying to sleep. You rush straight to the center of town to see what's going on, and that goblin that you hit 2 years ago with the same dent on his forehead is terrorizing 2 small children in the middle of town. Can't say it's the smartest decision for him, but he's terrorizing 2 small children, and there's not much you could do other than, well, maybe protecting. The goblin turns around and sees you there and honestly looks at you with complete revenge, like this anger look. He has this pure evil look in his eyes that he's ready to take you on. And right before you're even ready yourself, he just leaps at you. And the second he leaps at you, he swings. He like literally swings right at you. You have to roll to dodge. And I think, if I'm correct, we rolled 11 here. So we definitely got away, but he still scraped us a little bit, left a little bit of a bruise, but nothing crazy. Just something that, stung a little bit, but it wasn't actually like a hit or anything, like a skim. And now we finally get the chance to attack. And I gave them the option of maybe doing a hand-to-hand using our staff or actually attempting a firebolt. Chat decided to use a firebolt on a staff that's not so great. And we rolled a 1. So we've invented the meme, the pipe bomb, because the staff literally exploded in our hands and backfired at us. And I don't think I've ever done this before, but I felt so terribly bad that I gave them another chance to attack before the goblin attacked them. Honestly, I feel like the goblin would have felt bad in that situation. Like, dude, what are the odds, right? The staff blew up, and we basically go up and we use our hands, right, and swing at the goblin and end up hitting him, right? We actually hit him pretty good. Then we had to dodge one more time. We actually did dodge the second time, like completely. And then we hit him with, I think, a 20. If I'm correct, we hit him with a 20 on the third hit or the third, turn, and we knock him out cold. The goblin's done. So we rolled pretty good in this fight. We didn't take almost any damage, minus the staff exploding in our face. That was kind of, well, I just didn't expect that. But throughout all that, we actually rolled really well. And after being a little shaken up, and the town was being a little shaken up at the fact there are goblins, the main military of the town actually scouted out the forest to see if there was any more, and they said it was all clear. But people kind of praised you for protecting the two kids. And a knight that came up to stop the goblin himself after you had already done it, because he heard the screams a little bit further away. He wasn't there in time. He praised you for doing a good job, not running away, and actually taking the goblin out. So if anything, you're growing a reputation in town for good reasons. This happened, and the druid is upset that you tried the firebolt, and on a staff that wasn't so great. But you saved the kids, so he can't be too mad at you, right? That aside, 1 year later, now we're 15. Now this is the last year before we finally start our adventure, right? We're 15 years old. We've literally fought a baby goblin. We have actually beaten the base goblin, and we have some experience, and we actually were given another staff. It's a little bit better, but it's not the greatest thing in the world. It's another staff to use for the time being, right? And it's your birthday again. Oh, wait. No, wait, I lied. This time it wasn't your birthday. I'm super sorry. That's the next time. My bad. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I'm sorry. Remember, all this happens on the Twitch channel. So like, if you want to be there in real time and actually experience the story and like make the decisions yourself and like be a part of it with everybody, be sure to actually come over, because I promise it's one heck of a ride every time you're there. Like, there's not a single time there hasn't been some kind of meme or some kind of like fun or some kind of like mass craziness that goes on. But I promise you, it's worth at least checking out. And it's all in VR. So remember, you're going to have the backgrounds to actually look at, and you can hear it in the background, and you can have it as like a thing to listen to, kind of like maybe like this. But yeah, enough about that. You're 15 now. You have a better staff, but it's nothing crazy. But you hear that there is there's a military group that is recruiting in town. And honestly, a lot of people go up and they show off their best skills, and they usually either take them in or push them away. And it's kind of a fun event that everybody likes to go and watch. It's only usually it's only 3 guys who come that do the judging and everything, but it's pretty interesting. And you can now fully transform, by the way. You can fully transform into a fox. And you and Alex decided to go into town to watch this, and you watch a couple people go up, but nobody seems to be good enough. And that night that saw that you took out that goblin actually put your name up. He tells them that you're not old enough to go yet. You have to be at least 16 to go. But he tells you to go up, and they actually ask you to come forth. The whole town pushes you in, full pressure now, right? And I asked chat, do you guys want to attempt to use a firebolt, which, being able to use a firebolt at a target is a good example, or would you like to transform? And they wanted to transform. That's actually a smarter idea, because you don't have to roll for that one, right? And you transform into a fox. You finally do it, and the full transformation looks clean. You're able to hold it for a little bit, and the guys are actually really impressed. And then they send out one of their men. They say, how's your hand-to-hand combat? Now we have to roll 4 times on this. Twice for hitting them, twice for dodging. When I say we are lucky, we actually dodged both times and hit the guy both times. It wasn't to like do mass amounts of damage, but it was there for like a hell of a lot of fun, and just like to maybe show off a little bit. If you did good, then your name was written down, and our name got written down. They actually really enjoyed us. It was actually a really cool event for us that we did well in. And while you're in town, you ended up after the whole event and everything too, right? They wrote your name down, and they said they'll come back for you next year. While you're still in town, that candy dealer is back, and he offers you that same chocolate bar that he offered you 2 years ago. And no, 3 years ago. Oh man. And this time you buy it for the 2 gold that it's worth. It's kind of a weird looking chocolate bar, but chocolate's your favorite flavor. So coming off of that, I can say we now own a chocolate bar. So you and Alex kind of sit down at the pier and kind of watch the ships take off. The 3 military men are actually still in town. They're at the pub, for all you know. And you and Alex have like a little bonding moment, but he ends up having to go back home. You stay for a little bit. swinging your legs, just looking off at the cosmos. Next year, not even, and you finally get to make your journey out. It's kind of exciting if you think about it. You can go to like endless planets and see endless things. Like, oh my God, I can't wait. Honestly, I can't even wait. I can't wait for us to get there because I can't wait to get to that part of the story. Oh my God. So from there, you start to walk home. You grab your staff, you grab your bag and everything. You start to walk home and you hear something like roughing around the alley and you're confused. You're kind of confused on like what the heck that was. You look down there and that military man, the captain of the 3 men, is pinning that knight that put a good word in for you against the wall. Now you can't hear anything, but you know you can transform into that fox and maybe get a little bit closer and be sneaky. With that though, I asked chat, do we want to go in or do we want to leave it be? And they wanted to go in. With that though, what are we gonna do with our bag? What the heck are we gonna do with our bag, right? So I said, do we just drop it where we are? Do we like go and hide it? And they actually wanted to go hide it, so we put it in the we put it in that stall of that one guy who we always buy our goods from, and it's safe, I guess, right? Who knows? Maybe the guy's gonna steal our stuff. And we transform. We go inside. And as we're going inside, the main guy is talking about taking half the goods in town and taking it back to base with them while everybody's asleep. Now, if you knowing this is not right. You don't want this to happen, right? And so I give them options. Do we run and tell the mayor right away, or do we take our bag and go to a druid and tell him? Well, we take our bag. We go tell the druid. The druid is pissed. And so with the druid being pissed, he goes up, he grabs his staff and he goes, I'm going to handle this. He goes and we still go and tell the mayor. The mayor gathers a whole group of people in town and we actually surround the 3 guys and the druid tells them to drop their weapons or else. The one guy comes forth and basically shuns the druid, calling him a fake, a phony. The druid turns into a giant 3-headed Cerberus, fully red, flames and all, sharp teeth, buff as can be, maybe 2 to 3 stories tall. And he literally takes that soldier, rips him limb from limb, and spits him out on the ground and tells the other 2 to surrender. This is their fate. The other 2 surrender. They put their swords to the ground. There ain't nobody's trying to mess with that. And then from there, they decide to go to prison. They'll take the bullet on this one and go to prison. Now, with that, we've saved the town again. This time the druid's finally getting praise, even though he's been cooped up in his house for years upon years. People are always wary of him. At least they kind of have a respect for him. You have a good, respectable name for yourself. This is one heck of a way to start our story for us to do this well, right? Now, that happened. And we're going to fast forward one last time to our 16th birthday. Yep, it's about that time. Our 16th birthday, man. And it's your party, and Alex comes over. He gives you his favorite knife that he likes. And then after that, the druid actually gives you one of his really good fire staves. He actually really likes it. It's more of an ebony staff, and it honestly looks phenomenal as a nice red crystal at the top. It's nice, and you feel the power of it. You take it out back, and you actually fire it at a target, and it feels right. You end up, Alex ends up going home after that, and you end up eating some cake or whatever, and Druid says, hey, tomorrow, I understand you're going to try to start your journey. I wish you luck, but at least say goodbye in the morning before you head out. And you head back up to your room, and you're kind of staring at the staff and all. You're laying in your bed, and you hear this weird humming noise coming from your closet. And it's not like just a weird hum. It's like a hum that's calling you. It has like a shine to it too. You can see it lighting up in the closet as well. You stand up, you go, you open the doors, and it's that little box that you were given when you were 5. There was no way of opening it, no way of getting inside of it, but you're just so drawn to it that your hand, you see that there's a hand, like a hand thing lit up on it that you can place your hand on it and it would fit perfectly. So you do that. And the second you do that, it opens up and the crown of chaos is sitting directly at your fingertips. It's completely empty. There's no gems on it, so it's nothing but just a vessel to be filled. But you can tell the power that radiates from this, that it's like no other. The second you decide to touch it, this huge pulsating wave comes from it, and all of the cosmos now knows that the crown is free. The crown is out there and it's ready to be taken. Nobody knows that you have it other than the druid who rushed up to tell you to hide that. But everybody knows where that pulse came from. And now you're going to be hunted. Everybody wants that crown. And you're the wielder of it currently. This entire story is going to be you getting chased, you running, you making a name for yourself by fighting many battles. But you're never safe. There's always somebody ready to take you out when the time is right. And to be honest, the very end of the stream, the number one thing I did was, are you ready? And man, was that that was like the most epic question I could have asked. But yeah, no, that's the end of like the very first set, the prologue. Like that's how we got into the story. And the journey begins every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern time is when I normally start it. It's quite wild what happens on these days. So if you guys want to be a part of these stories, be sure to come out on Wednesdays, because I promise you, it's definitely one heck of a time. And this story is only going to get deeper and deeper. So I recommend stopping by, checking it out, putting some polls in, and maybe your choices will really be reflected here. Maybe your name might be put in each episode, right? That's the prologue of Pirates of the Cosmos. It's the prologue of Kyrix. It's one heck of a journey. We have artwork. We're getting a world made. The ship's going to be real. Everything's going to be made, and this whole story is just going to keep progressing the further we're able to get into it. So I really hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully for anybody who missed the first episode and you're coming here to listen to it, this is the start. And I'm going to be doing these once a week, right about an hour before each episode, so that you guys keep staying caught up. Yeah, that's all I can really say about that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one or at the stream. Depends. Welcome to Pirates of the Cosmos, everybody. I'll see you next time.